Hello there, my name's Scott. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the Z-Atty-G, which I received from www.moulnco.com. I think it's actually Mouln & Company, but the website address is moulnco.com. Before I start, I must point out I did receive it free of charge for the purpose of conducting a review. My opinion of the product remains true, honest and accurate as always. Okay, let's go straight ahead and show you what's in the tube. Okay, so the Z-Atty-G or ZAG comes in one of these tubes. I think it's a really good way of sending out products because if you look there, you can see you have this sort of foam insert with the hole running through the centre. It just means that all your atomiser and all the extra bits and pieces you get are going to be very nicely sort of stored away and protected during the older postal service. Okay, so inside the tube you're going to find the following items. A Z-Atty-G Genesis repairable atomiser, and these do come with a wick and coil already set up for you. And also included will be one pack of 400 mesh pre-oxidised wicks, one pack of 325 mesh pre-oxidised wicks, an Allen key, some canthenol wire, and finally a 5mm syringe, and they also include a blunt filling needle. Okay, so several months ago I recorded a review on the Z-Atty-U and the Z-Atty Pro, which are both pretty much identical to the Z-Atty-G. However, the Z-Atty-U doesn't have this sort of band here. Instead it has a regular 510 atomiser connection and allows you to use it on any sort of 510 device. And the Z-Atty Pro was designed specifically to be used with a Pro Vari. Now the Z-Atty-G has been designed specifically to be used with either a GG Stealth, a GGTS, or you can also screw it straight onto the telescopic tube of the GGTS as well. I've been using it mainly with the little GG Stealth, and as you can see it just screws straight onto the end there, and it just gives it that really nice all-in-one sort of hybrid look, and me personally, I think that looks fantastic. Right, so I just showed you it on my little GG Stealth, and here I have it on my sort of current up-to-date GGTS. And at the moment I've got it screwed straight onto the telescope tube, so if you want to use different size batteries, obviously you still have that option. So if I just unscrew this now from the telescopic tube and put the rest of the body back on, if I'm going to use it with like an 18650 battery, again it just screws straight onto the end there, no problems at all. Now, like I said, this is the sort of current up-to-date version of the GGTS, and here I have my original GGTS, which is probably around sort of 2 years old now, something like that. And it does work, it does screw on okay-ish, but that's as far as it will go. And you can feel that's really sort of starting to tighten up there, and obviously I don't want to sort of do it anymore, so I'm going to start damaging the threads. So it does work, you'll still fire up and everything, but you are left with quite a sizable gap in the centre there. So, if you have got one of the original GGTSs, obviously you do need to be mindful that you are likely to get a gap. Okay, so I'll quickly go through some specifications of the Z-Atty-G. Unfortunately, when it comes to the wick hole size and the air hole size, I couldn't actually find that information on the website, so I've had to take my own measurements, so they are more sort of approximations rather than being deadly accurate. Okay, so the overall material used is a 316 surgical grade stainless steel, and the actual build quality, it really is superb. One thing I was especially happy about was the finish on the top cap. Now on my Z-Atty Pro and the Z-Atty-U, the finish had a lot of swirl marks and little sort of scuffs and marks, and it wasn't what you'd really expect from a top quality sort of product. However, on this one here, the finish is absolutely superb, no blemishes whatsoever, so I'm really happy about that. The tank is a fused quartz tank, and it holds around 4 millilitres of e-liquid. And also available is a stainless steel tank, or alternatively you can also get a cobalt blue glass tank, which looks absolutely fantastic. The air hole on the top cap reads approximately 1.5 millimeters. The top cap is held in place by a single O-ring, so there is a little bit of a rocking there. It does come off sort of fairly easily, but I've never had it come off for me personally, so I don't see it as any issue whatsoever. On the top you're going to find your positive and your negative connections, And I'm pleased to say as well that these both have the same size Allen key now. On the older versions you used to have two different size keys for some reason. Next up you have your fill hole and your wick hole, and the wick hole is without the insulation there. I think it was 3.5mm I made it. With the insulation there, the wick hole size is 2.5mm. Okay, so like I said, the Z-Atty-G will come with a wick and coil already set up for you. So all you've got to do is attach it to your GGTS or GG Stealth, fill the tank up with some e-liquid, and that's it, you can start vaping. Now I've had this same coil on there for around the last sort of 2.5 to 3 weeks, so I'm just going to change it now anyway. And obviously I might as well show you guys that process as well when I'm doing it. So I'm going to keep on using the same old wick though. You know, it seems to be in good condition, so there's no point in me using another one yet. But if you are going to use one of the wicks out of the pack, you just need to obviously trim it down to size, because they do come out a little bit longer, so you just need to cut it off to size there. So if you get it around there, so it's just about around sort of, you don't want it going above the top of this screw head here, otherwise it will get crushed by the top cap when you put it on. So just make sure it's just a little bit low, the screw head, and you should be fine. Now you may be wondering why I've got a syringe wedged down the middle of my wick, and that's because I find the wicks that come with the kit, they're quite sort of bendy and flexible, which makes it a little bit more difficult when wrapping the coils. So by having the syringe down the middle there, just helps to make it a little bit more solid. Okay, so I've just loosened off the positive and the negative terminal. I'm just going to use some 0.20 gauge camphor and start off by attaching it to the negative wire. So just pull that around like that and take the Allen key and tighten it up. And then I'm just going to take the wire here, wrap around sort of 4 or 5 coils around the wick, and then finish off by trapping it underneath this top screw here. And once again, just take the Allen key and tighten it up. And once that's all in place, you can then just make your coils look a little bit neater, and you should end up with something that looks a little bit like that. Okay, so I've just taken the syringe out of the wick there, and now I need to remove the 2 pieces of excess wire. Now you can use a pair of cutters if you want, but I prefer to just apply a bit of tension, give the wire a spin, and it should snap off nice and clean. Right, so now I've got the coil all set up, I can just attach it to my little GG Stealth and check to make sure that everything's going to be firing up correctly. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you've got a dry tank and a dry wick, and you want to just sort of keep an eye on your coils and just make sure they're all going to light up evenly and at the same time. If all the coils light up evenly and at the same time, then you know it's all good to go. You can fill your tank up and start vaping. So let's have a look and see what happens. And I think it actually looks alright. Yeah, that's pretty much perfect. Okay, so now I know the coils are all lighting up evenly, and at the same time I can just use a syringe, put that in the filling hole and fill the tank up with some juice. And just fill it up with some 18mg strength tobacco flavoured e-liquid. Leave a little bit of a gap at the top. And hopefully we should start to see the wicking process happening now. And when I press the button, start getting some vapour. Right, so now we know that everything's all firing up and you're getting plenty of vapour, we can attach the top cap. Now when you add the top cap, you want to make sure that you line the air hole up directly in front of the wick, and that'll get you the most amount of vapour. Then you can just take your 510 drip tip and put that into the top, and that's it, you're good to go. Okay, so that is the Z-Atty-G. Let's go ahead and see what it makes like. Okay, so that was the Z-Atty-G or ZAG, and what I'll do now is go ahead and show you in action. So I'm going to be using it with my GG Stealth. It's just got a fresh battery in there, so it's probably reading around sort of 4.2 volts. The resistance of the coil, I haven't bothered actually measuring it, but it's probably around sort of 2 ohms. and the tank has been filled up with some 18mg strength tobacco flavoured e-liquid, and it's just a PG e-liquid. As you can see, like vape wise, you're getting plenty of vapour out of it. You have to bear in mind though, the amount of vapour you're going to get will be quite down to your own sort of personal setup, with regards to, you know, what sort of resistance you've set the coil to, whether you're using like a PG based e-liquid or a VG based e-liquid, etc, etc. But nevertheless, with the setup I've got here, getting plenty of vapour. With regards to flavour, I do personally find that the like the Genesis, I've got, you know, a few Genesis products now. I've got like the standard, the mini, and obviously the whole range of the Atomizers. And I do find that the flavour compared to other Genesis style Atomizers is a smidgen muted compared to the other ones. Like nothing major, but just, you know, a little bit different. And it's mainly because, I think anyway, because of like the size of the air hole. It has got a very big air hole, and when it's quite airy, it does tend to like mute the flavours a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it's still, the flavour's still brilliant, it's still getting plenty of flavour out of it, but not quite as much as compared to some other Genesis style Atomizers. The heat of the vapour. Again, where it's got a quite airy draw and a big top cap there. Now the actual heat is, well, there isn't much heat to be quite honest. No, it's definitely a cool vape. If I was going to say one was really cold, 5 was really hot, then it's definitely probably around sort of 1.5, something like that, which I know a lot of people prefer. Normally I would go for a warmer vape, but I do find it's one of those things, the more you vape it, the more you get used to it, and the more you sort of become accustomed to it. And when you go into like another atomizer, and you find that it almost feels like it's too warm. So, you know, once you get used to it, you know, like I said, you know, it's just a very nice vape. The draw on it, you know, as I said, is quite an airy sort of draw, which have got that quite larger air hole there. So, you know, there's not a great deal of resistance. If I was going to say like 1 was a very loose draw, 5 was a really tight draw, then again it's going to be around sort of like you know, 1.5, something like that. Again, you know, a lot of people do tend to go for the airy draws rather than the tight draws. And normally I would go for the tight draw, but like I said, it is one of those things, the more you vape it, the more you get used to it, and the more it feels almost sort of natural. And when you do go back to another atomizer that has got a tight draw, for example, something like the Bliss, which I normally really like. I was vaping this all day yesterday, then in the evening I had to go in with Bliss, and it just felt like it was way too tight. So it is a case of, you know, once you get used to something, then, you know, you get used to it. And when you switch over to something else, it just feels a little bit odd until you get used to that as well. But nevertheless, so it has got an airy draw compared to like other Genesis atomizers. But the good thing about it, I think a lot of these sort of Genesis products would really suit people who like the old sort of hooker pipes, you know, where you're taking sort of really long, sort of like a direct lung inhales, because where it is quite cool, it's quite airy, you know, you can really take a really long sort of deep drags on it. I'll do one now actually. As you can see, you know, plenty of vapour out of it as well. Moving on then, what's next? I've done the draw and that. The build quality, you know, this one, like, I've not got any problems at all whatsoever with the build quality. On my Z-Atty Pro and my Z-Atty-U that I purchased, the top caps, you know, all of it was perfectly fine apart from the top cap, where it had almost like somebody got a bit of sandpaper, and rather than the grain going left to right all the way around, it's like in patches. I'd sort of got a bit of sandpaper and just done a few little circles. But on this one, no, the actual grain, the finish is, you know, it's absolutely perfect. There's no problems with it whatsoever, and the rest of the build quality, you know, is top notch. With regards to sort of ease of setup, definitely one of the easier ones to get going. And you know, the added sort of bonus with this is it comes with that little bit of insulator down the wick hole, which you know, just helps to prevent any sort of little sort of short circuits now going on. You know, it's quite sort of basic under the hood really. Just, you know, connect your wire, wrap your coil, connect the wire, bob's your uncle, fanny's your aunt. You know, so it is quite a nice simple one to get set up and going. And like I said, it does, if you are a complete beginner, these do come with the coil and wick already set up for you. So all you've got to do is add your juice, and you can worry about sort of practicing making your coils at a later stage. So if I was going to say that 1 was really hard, 5 was dead easy, it's definitely got to be a 5, you know, because for me they are probably one of the easiest sort of Genesis style atomizer to get set up and running. I think overall it's a fantastic addition for the GG Stealth or the GGTS. Like I've been mainly using it on the GG Stealth. You know, it looks absolutely brilliant. It really does. It matches it perfectly. And I'm really surprised that Imio, who actually like makes the GG products, I'm surprised he's never come out with a Genesis atomizer himself for it, because obviously, you know, he's sort of skipped the boat there really, because that is a perfect match. And I got my little GG Stealth here when they first come out. I can't remember how long ago that was. A year and a half, something like that, maybe 2 years. And I've never actually used it. I bought it, I think actually, I just sort of tested it out, make sure it's far in, put it on the side of my desk, eventually moved from the side of the desk into the drawer, and it's never been touched again. I bought it more for sort of nostalgia reasons rather than actually wanting to like actually use it. Whereas now I've got the ZAG, it's got a whole sort of new lease of life, and this will be something that'll be left out on the side and vaped on probably on like a daily basis really. So you know, if you've got a little GG Stealth and you want to turn it into a nice little hybrid, you know, you can't really go wrong at all. There's not a great deal else I can really sort of tell you about it. If you fancy trying one out for yourself, go along to www.mornco.com. Thank you very much for watching. Also come along and visit my website at www.e-cig-reviews.com. That's e-cig-reviews.com. Cheers guys, happy vaping, see you later.